AITA for calling my son inconsiderate? Throwaway account for privacy reasons. I, 46F, have twins, 19M, and another son, 16M. My son loves to cook and bake. To him it's his source of relaxation. Alfredo, burgers, pizza, you name it. Heck, even a whole cake he can make it. Everyone who has met him knows he's a fantastic cook. However, he prefers to only cook for himself and gets really annoyed when my twins walk in on him cooking and ask him to make them food as well. He'll end up doing it, but he does it very begrudgingly and usually gives them a much smaller portion than his own serving, which my twins don't like. They both have jobs, and will sometimes use their job money to buy us all a little fast food, so they find it really upsetting how their younger brother never returns the favor by primarily cooking for himself. The other day, neither of my twins had class and weren't really in the mood for the food that we ate in the house. My son came back from school and decided to make himself some banana pudding. When my twins asked for some as well, he told them they could just make it themselves and the ingredients were all still there. My son put the banana pudding in the fridge and went to go take a shower while it was chilling. When he came back down, he saw that my twins had eaten it all, and this really upset him. When he told me about the situation, I confronted the twins, to which they said it was really rude for him to only make something for himself, knowing Faffy were hungry as well, and like he said, he could always make some more. I told my son that while they shouldn't have eaten his food, that they were right, and he was very inconsiderate. My son replied that it's not fair how he gets back from school and is expected to make food for his older siblings. That they can just get a cookbook and learn how to make things for themselves. I told my son that if he's not going to cook for everybody, then he can't cook anymore. He's been pretty moody ever since. Obviously his brothers shouldn't have eaten his food, but it takes no effort to just make a larger portion of the food he's cooking so that everybody can have it. My husband thinks I'm in the right, but I'm really not happy with how things are right now between my children. So AITA? AITA because I told my partner that if we have a boy, I'm not naming him after him. We already have a daughter together and I let him name her. He didn't want to compromise on a name that we would both agreed on, so I said I wanted to give her a middle name. He also said no to that if I want to give her a middle name, he'd rather not have anything to do with naming her. He ended up feeling bad and letting him name her. He ended up naming her Shelby because he loves Mustangs. I love her name now. It fits. He's now telling me that he deserves a junior if we have a boy, wants to name him Jose. I'm not saying that he doesn't deserve a junior. He's a great dad and a great person, but I would love to name just one of my children. I don't plan on having more just so I can have the chance to name one. I know it's just a name and it shouldn't be such a big deal, but to me, it is. He's really upset and doesn't understand why it means so much for me to be able to name one of my children when he deserves it. Why I won't go back on this. Having a boy isn't even promised, but it's definitely a conversation we've had a few times. AITA for not wanting my partner to have a JR because I want to name the baby?
AITA for announcing to my sexist stepfather that I'll not be sharing my college funds with my stepbrother? I had to repost due to technical problems. I, 18F, found out a couple months ago that I got into my dream school early decision that happens Toby and Ivy League. I was overjoyed and my parents were happy for me too. We're not too well off, but my grandma saved up money for her only granddaughter's, me, college fund, which is more than enough to fund my tuition. Now, I have a stepbrother, Damon, 19M. He took a gap year, not really, and he is going to college too, but he's going to a college less costlier than mine. Honestly, he's only going to attend college because of his dad's incessant nagging. So recently my parents, moreover my stepdad, is bugging me about sharing my college funds with Damon. I don't want to, or else I'll have after graduation and it will shatter all my financial planning after college. Last night at dinner was my breaking point when asked again. I said no, then he said to my mom, well anyway, Amaryllis is a girl. Why waste that much money on her college? I completely lost it. I yelled out, you know what, I've had enough. First of all, it is not even your money to decide what TF to do with it. It's the money my grandma left for me college tuition. Besides, my gender doesn't define my intelligence. I got into college name, didn't want. Then Damon said I need to accept he smarter with a grin. Now here's where I may have been taught. I said, at least I have plans and ambitions unlike Damon, who told everyone he took a gap year when he actually failed. True. SD and Damon stormed off and my mum called me Anna. So Reddit, AITA, edit. Thank you everyone for the kind words and support. I will keep the suggestions in the comments in mind. I'll post an update soon after a discussion with my family. Thanks again. AITA for refusing to clean up after my girlfriend even though she was upset. I've been with my girlfriend for 2 years and she's always had irregular periods. She has some sort of hormonal imbalance, meaning her periods are apparently more difficult. She'd been complaining her period was late, by like a little over a month. Editing to add, because I don't want this to be biased, we've been together 2 years. During that time she's occasionally had periods that last 2 months, had a period twice a month, etc. She's been doctors. I'll say no much more as I'm not looking for medical advice. In the past when she's been on her period she has bowled over bedding, the sofa, the floor, and she says it's because it's a heavy flow. She's sometimes in a lot of discomfort, so she's asked me to clean it up. I got home yesterday and it was like everywhere. I can't even explain how bad it was. I don't know how she managed it. She said it was heavier because it was late. I told her I wouldn't be tidying up and went toad. I'd had a really long day. My dad is sick, so I had to spend time comforting my mother, which in itself was hard, but then I spent the day on my feet being yelled at by customers. She was obviously upset, but there's usually discomfort when her period starts, so it's not unusual. I did get out the heated blanket for her and some pain meds. Today I apologized to her for assuming she was going to ask. She said, I was. So I said, oh, notice sorry then because I wasn't going to tidy it. To which she stormed out, told me I should understand by now that she struggles occasionally and I need empathy. I said she needs to learn she has them enough that she should be the one to clean up after herself. We're not speaking right now? AITA?
AITA for making an insurance claim against someone just trying to help me? I take my dogs for a run every afternoon to some fields about a 10-minute drive from my home. I load them up in the canopy in the back of my ute and pop the one window of canopy into the open position so me dogs can look at things and get some fresh air. The gas struts of the window have failed, meaning the window no longer supports itself while open and drops down. So I wrap a strap around the inner strut to act as support so the window doesn't drop down and close while going over bumps. I did the same thing that afternoon, but after getting home and dropping the dogs off, I needed to pop into the shops. Problem was I forgot that I had left the canopy window open while driving to the shops. On my way there some bloke got out of his car at a set of traffic lights and runs over to my truck and attempts to close the canopy window down for me. But because I braced it so well, he had to put extra force into trying to close it. I watched this all unfold in the mirror. It happened extremely fast, so I had no opportunity to tell him to stop. He put so much force into trying to close it for me that he completely shattered the window. Went green, so we pulled over on the other side of the intersection. I got his details from him. He's 20 years old, driving an old 4-wheel drive. Really nice kid. But am I the AmItheAsshole for making an insurance claim to have the canopy replaced? It was an older canopy, so they could not make repairs. I do feel bad, thought they was only trying to help out, but in the same breath I was left with problem I never created. Should I have copped it on the chin? I left the window open mistakenly. He was just trying to be a good Samaritan and was extremely apologetic about it. He actually went back and cleaned glass off the road with a broom. He also cut his feet on the glass. Edit. Some people saying I am taking advantage of the situation, which is not true. I asked insurance to repair the old canopy. The manufacturer came back and said it can't be replaced because the model was no longer supported and had been superseded. So the whole canopy must be replaced under the insurance claim. AITA for calling my sister a coke whore? I'm 18F. I live with my parents and my sister, Joanne, 23F. Joanne has a cocaine habit and she claims it's normal in her job and it's just the lifestyle of cheffing, yada yada. My parents seem to be ignoring it since Joanne pays her rent on time and keeps to herself when she's in the house and doesn't cause many problems. I'm a college student on a government grant. I'm in college Monday to Friday up until 5-6 p.m. Working isn't really an option for me right now, so I don't go out much and I spend all my money on college supplies. Joanne doesn't seem to understand this and is always asking to borrow money and whatnot. I always say no because it works out that I only have 40 euros every week to spend on college stuff and travel to college. I got a Christmas bonus on my grant and I ended up deciding to book tickets for a small-ish local gig that's next week. I booked 2, one for me and one for my best friend because her birthday is the same day and she loves the type of music. It was meant to be a surprise for her. I had told Joanne about this on one of her good days, because I was genuinely excited to finally do something and live the college student lifestyle for a night. The tickets were digital, on an account shared with my parents. Joanne had asked for the login telling them that she wanted to book tickets to something, but she was lying and used it to sell my tickets for drug money. I didn't find out until I had gotten the email to confirm that the tickets were sent to someone else, and I was really confused at first. I checked and they were sent to someone I know Joanne knows. I went straight to her when she got home and asked what the UCK she did, and she tried lying, but I showed her proof it went to someone she knows and told her I wanted my money back then and there. She told me it was gone already. I lost my mind and started yelling at her because it wasn't fair. My mom was just in from work and I was screaming at my sister, who was crying at that point, saying she was sorry and she didn't know it would upset me this much. My mom got involved and told me to keep my voice down and we'll talk about it, and I told her to shut up and stay out of it. I ended up saying something along the lines of, "Why is it fair that you get to do this to me when I've never even drank alcohol or smoked weed? Why does the coke whore get to be the golden child but not me?" My mom stepped in and put a stop to it then and there. My sister had started screaming back at me for what I called her. My mom said that was out offline and she just made a mistake. I told my mom her mistake cost me the only night out I'll have been able to have all year, so she should hear what I have to say about it. My mom thinks I was in the wrong for what I said, and my sister won't even look at me even though it's been 3 days and I've tried apologizing. AITA?